Nestled within the confines of Silverstone racetrack is Aston Martin's Stowe circuit, where it can test its new cars secretly away from the prying eyes of the public. Cars like its prototype of the 1,064 horsepower limited edition Valhalla supercar.
So behind me is the Valhalla. It's a working prototype, as you can see, because it's still got people working on it. Come closer if you can, Serge, and I'll show you around it. We'll start from front to back. It is incredibly low. You can see visibly the springs and the front suspension through here. There's three radiators at the front that help wind blow through. It has a carbon fibre tub with aluminium subframes front and rear, but it's all sort of carbon. If you remember the Ferrari F80 vid from a couple of weeks ago, similarly has carbon at the top. To that, it has an E axle at the front, which means there's two electric motors at the front, and as you come further back around here, there is a 4-litre flat plane crank AMG based V8, but they say it's almost like a new engine. It's so heavily modified over the Black Series AMG GT that it came from. There's a video of that elsewhere on this channel as well. And then there's an electric motor at the back too, with an 8-speed twin clutch gearbox, which does that very clever thing where reverse is done by the motor rather than having its own separate gear for reverse, which keeps things lighter. The weight of this in its sort of dry, lightest form will be about 1,655 kilos. That's pretty light, isn't it, actually, given the complexity of stuff that goes with it. Let's find out. They say it's very approachable. The reason we're here at the Stowe circuit in a prototype car is that they want to show how approachable and friendly and Aston-like this car is. So I'll jump in and I'll have a go and see what that's like. Right, so I have just got into this car. Darren Turner, Aston's development driver, plus you will know him if you are race fans from his racing, has just taken me around for a couple of laps and showed me what to do. But now here I am in what is a very swoopy, lots of bear and that sort of chopped carbon fibre I like very much, mixed with some high grade materials. These metal door pulls are really nice because they feel really cold, metally to the touch, which I like very much. To go through the drive modes is very simple. I've got a big knob down here which I can turn, but when I've got stability control off but traction control on, what that knob does instead is adjusts the traction control, which goes from fully on all the way to fully off. Visibility is pretty good. I've got actual real mirrors in the doors, they're quite big. Got a screen for the back which is full of wing at the moment. The wing is kind of set in a position. What Aston would like to demonstrate to me today particularly is this car on Pilot Sport 5 tyres rather than the sort of cut rubber that it would eventually go on faster circuits in, to guide and demonstrate the amount of playfulness this car has and the way it feels like an Aston. And actually it's very easy for me to drive. Steering is medium light in weight, and I just did a couple of sighting laps in a Vantage just to remind myself where this track goes because it's been a few years. And the family traits of an Aston Martin are inherent in this. I just rode over a curb and it rode quite nicely. The steering response is quite light. Body control, loose is the wrong word, but it breathes. And it's a very friendly car to drive, and yet here we are with 1,000+ horsepower. Incredibly complex because it's got a motor at the back, two motors at the front, active aero all over the shop. And yet, here I am just sort of fairly comfortably, confidently, light touch on the steering wheel. Just being willing to sort of nudge up to what it'll do. Bit of understeer, bit of oversteer. Play around with that more in a moment. Hard limiter they say, and they are right, it really does run into that limiter. Brake pedal feel is good, really good actually. It is slightly silly how easily you can run up to this car's limits. It does feel very docile. Aston do very friendly, approachable cars as a rule. This engine, I'd sort of forgotten actually, this Black Series engine is a flat plane crank, Black Series based. That's only the starting point for it. And then it gets, as we've explained, the motor at the back plus the motors at the front. Time the upshift's right, you get a real sort of kick at the back, as if it was just about to lean into the limiter at the time. You shift up, you get a real kick through. Otherwise, it's incredibly smooth, as you might imagine from a complicated system that does a lot of torque filling, has 2 clutches, you can tell what the engine sounds like as well as I can, I suspect. This Black Series engine, Black Series based engine, doesn't have the sort of same V8 woofle as a crossblade crank V8, which most AMG motors are. I should stop saying motors when I refer to engines, because these days there are motors as well as engines. But it sounds purposeful. And that's a 1,000 horsepower hypercar being chunked around within a few minutes of getting in it, and I am not Darren Turner, so the fact that I can do it is pretty encouraging, I would think, for owners. And it does pitch and move around a little, but you would almost expect an Aston Martin to want to do that, because these cars are typically, oh God, that's really nice. You know, they are not a hardcore, even their hardcore sports cars are allowed a playful, approachable, friendly character. Oh, it's really nice. They have made a proper car that you can back in on the throttle. You can sort of back in on the brakes and starts to move around. Turn in slow, give it the bum. That's nice.
In the UK, the Valhalla will cost £850,000, including VAT, but Aston expects a huge number, it says, of owners will go through the Q personalisation programme, so you can expect those cars to cost more than £1 million each. It'll build just 999 of them.
This is a tremendously good fun car. On a high speed circuit on aggressive tyres, they tell me it will keep this inherent friendly character, which, if true, will be something to cherish. I suppose we will find out in the coming months, because this car is due for customer deliveries before the end of the year. So join us again when we do drive it somewhere, I suspect a bit faster and with more aggressive tyres than this. But for now, thank you so much for joining me. We're here every week on Autocar. This car is kind of a rival for the Ferrari F80, I suspect, in terms of its dynamic makeup and its technical makeup, even if not its pricing and so on. That's elsewhere on this channel. If you would subscribe to the channel, I would be very grateful. Very grateful you give us the opportunity to tell you about cars like this. And I'll see you next time.